Hey, what's up, guys? I'm going to be topping some of my peppers at home that are at a bigger growth stage than this little girl right here. But I wanted to make sure I told you guys about how to top your peppers off. When you're buying peppers that are a plant, as far as that already come in the pot, and that are already up and fruiting, those peppers have already been topped. But if you're growing it from seed like this little lady right here, I wanted to talk about something. As a lot of people don't feel very comfortable doing it because, just like, the plant's not going to like it. Trust me, it's going to be just fine. So what I'm talking about when I say topping the plant is the fact that you're going to pinch it off, cut it off. And you're going to cut it off at the third node. So right here, this is a node right here. Like, think of it like an intersection. Now, when I say the third node, I mean the third real node. So when you're looking at this, you'd be like, hey, Captain Planet, like that's the first node, and then that's the second. No, that's not the case at all. Notice the difference between all pepper leaves and then their first leaves. Tomatoes will do the same thing, especially like papayas will go through different stages. These are what you call the cotyledon right here. So that's that first little opening leaf that was basically a big part of that seed system. Now, when I'm talking about cropping that third node, we're only going to count the first true leaves as being that first node. This would be the second node right here. So after this one gets a bit bigger and then starts growing past that third node, let's just, for visuals, pretend that this is the third node. And we'll say that these are true leaves just for pretend. What I would want to do is go right here, just above that node, and pinch that bad boy off. Now what that does is it starts sending out different hormones to the plant, and it tells it that it needs to go concentrate more on a vegetative stage than a reproductive stage. So all of a sudden at each intersection, at each nodule here, you're going to start seeing another plant spiking off, for example. Now, I was doing this to some basil yesterday, and you see what's going on here? Where I pinched it off, well, it was a couple days ago now that I think about it, where I pinched it off, look at these two growing. Whereas this one, I didn't pinch off, and it's not really growing any different. It is a little bit, but you can see that big difference. Now you want your pepper plant to be coming out like a nice bush. For example, I'll show you one right here. If I hadn't topped this bad boy, it wouldn't be a bush, and you see where these flowers are. Think about each intersection, there's a potential for a flower. Now, for each flower, there's a potential for it to become fruit. Now, a lot of times, if you over-fertilize, you're going to put off a lot of flowers, but those flowers are going to drop. The plant's getting a little bit too much. We're force-feeding it, so to speak. Now, it's pretty interesting because notice the soil here on BioFeed versus here on the standard. You guys see that nasty gunk buildup? It's like you got a concoction of cyanobacteria and just excessive nutrient pollution. I mean, when you're seeing that, guys, wow. I mean, this is where too much nutrients are in the wrong place. The root's not growing up trying to grab that nutrient. So we got to start treating our plants a little bit better and stop what I call force feeding our plants. Because what I'm doing, running this trial of BioVeed versus standard name brand fertilizer that I got at Home Depot, it's just making a point. It's making a point that, we're force feeding our plants as if we would give our children 50 Flintstone vitamins a day, saying that it's going to be healthy. Well, we know if we give them that much, we're going to be sending them to the doctor. Our plants don't talk to us, though. Well, not all of you, they do to me. But just an interesting perspective, guys, about how to treat not just the plant, but the organisms in the soil. BioFeed is acting, in my opinion, more of a soil remediation than it is even a fertilizer. Fertilizer is the second cool part about it, in my opinion. So this bioremediation, by splitting that water molecule via hydrogenase enzyme, you're actually adding elemental oxygen into that soil. So think of this like a Wi-Fi booster to the microorganisms that live there. Very, very, very beneficial. Their job is to call on nutrients. Hey, yo, potassium, nitrogen, calcium. We need you over here. The plant needs you. Well, if their connection's bad, then it's pretty obvious that they're not doing their job, which is that nutrient transportation to the plant. So it's just a little bit of old school common sense, guys, but adding a new twist of science with it. Hope you learned a little bit about cropping.